Good morning, all. Welcome to another episode of Shared Light with Dustie and JR. I am obviously JR.
And I'm Dusty.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Busy.
It's been a little bit of a hectic few weeks. Of course, it sounds like we're starting to say that quite a bit more, but it has been kind of a weird summer so far.
Busy.
Both girls are getting into baking randomly.
Yeah, which is good for me.
You guys will be watching this a day late, but happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Today is Father's Day when we're recording this. For those of you that step up and take care of your kids and take care of other people's kids and the dads that make the world go round, we wish you a blessed Father's Day and hope for all the most positive things that I could possibly hope for you. This episode is going to be a little bit different in format. We're kind of winging it on this one a little bit.
Switching it up a little bit.
Biggest thing to note is you obviously did not see a episode this past Thursday. We are changing our cadence a little bit to make some things a little bit easier around the house.
Yeah, and our schedules.
The other thing that we're changing up is we have discussed at length our relationship. You understand, I think, our perspectives on marriage so far. And we're still going to sprinkle some of that stuff in because it is crucial and imperative to the channel and to the podcast. But we also would like to touch on other subjects related to marriage, related to relationships, related to pop culture.
Yeah, it'll always be, we've shared kind of our core message and who we are, what we want to do with this podcast, but it'll all be related to our message.
Right. So in approaching this episode, we did a little bit of research, if you can call it that. Many of you may or may not know, and if you don't know, you're probably under a rock, which I didn't know the whole story, but I did see it pop up here and there. Bunny XO and Jelly Roll are getting divorced.
Yeah.
In anticipation of this particular episode, my lovely wife decided to listen to her podcast.
Yeah.
Which I think you listen to her podcast anyway, right?
I do. Yeah. On YouTube.
But I happened to be listening on as well. I've been vegging out a lot, been trying to just deal with a lot of the stress that I have going on.
Yeah. Even on Fortnite a lot.
So I've been playing on Fortnite.
Zoning out.
And just trying not to think about all the stresses and worries that I have in the world right now. But so I happened to listen to this particular podcast where they discussed their impending divorce.
Yep.
Next day, I think I seen a clip of Jelly Roll at a concert or something. Kind of giving his side of it. Yeah. So being that this is a podcast that focuses on relationships and marriage, we thought it would be kind of cool to talk about some of the takeaways we had from her podcast, how will they relate to some of our core message, and see how this new format holds up. Side note, we had a giveaway.
We tried to have a giveaway.
Did not go over as well as we thought, but that's okay.
It's okay. Nobody
entered. So for those of you that thought about entering and decided not to because there was no chance you were going to win, you probably should have. You could have got some free swag. So
maybe we'll try again. We were celebrating 500 streams and now we're about to hit 1,000. So
yes,
maybe
at 1,000, maybe at 1,500. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm just happy people are listening to our message. That's the most important part.
Right. Right. Even if they don't want our stuff.
They don't want to.
Is, the whole stigma around social media. There's some people that just don't do social media.
Yeah. We have a lot of followers, especially on YouTube, they just follow privately, which is fine.
Yeah. Or they listen to us on Spotify and just don't do
social media.
I mean, I know like your mom is probably one of those.
I don't know where she listens. I think she watches YouTube.
Well, and other people. I'm sure there's other people. I'm not discounting. I recently found out that some of the people at work are listening, so that's kind of odd. But anyways.
You open yourself up to the world.
You do. It's an interesting dynamic just because I don't think they know how to approach it. And I just I'm very nonchalant about it, so I don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a sidebar. Back to the topic at hand. Bunny XO and Jelly Roll are getting a divorce.
They are. I think everybody was shocked.
I've heard that. As somebody who's not in on a lot of pop culture, I just assume all celebrities are going to end up divorced for whatever reason. After listening to her podcast, it was kind of a strange dynamic compared to most divorces, I think.
Yeah, they definitely have their own way of doing things. And everybody's story is so different and unique anyway. but I think theirs is just really unique
Yeah.
and different.
So it sounds like she was a little bit of a hustler. Uh,
Yeah.
he was a little bit of a lost soul.
Trying to make it in music and
She kind of sounds like she saved him from a rough path, helped him out a bunch, is his biggest supporter, which is the take. Well, that was one of the main things that I still took away. Is that even through all of this, it sounds like she's still very much his biggest ally, biggest supporter, still wants to be his best friend.
yeah.
But they're just at a place in life where they think it's just better not to be married, I guess.
Yeah, I think one of the major things that I took from it is, which goes along with our message and what we talk about so much. And one of the main things that we talk about is communication. And she even said in there, like, we were always such good communicators. And then the last couple of years, things get busy, things get hectic, life gets in the way. You start arguing more, whatever, the stress, and they stopped communicating.
Right. Then that was one of the big things she mentioned, right? Was
Yeah.
that you get to a point where you don't want to talk to this other person because you don't want to be in the house with somebody who's pissed off all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that's like what we've talked about so many times on our podcast is how do you keep that communication and that intent and all of that through the hardships in your marriage, the stressful times, in their case, the rise of both of their careers. Like he got really big in the music world and she really came up with her podcast and her book. And so their dynamic is, I mean, their world is totally different than ours, but
Well, but I think
the core message in all of it is the same. Life gets in the way, and you have to be intentional. You have to communicate.
yeah, it's the fundamental fact is that the marriage still has these building blocks and foundational pieces that you have to ensure throughout the marriage that is being taken care. It's like a house, right?
Mhm.
You start to get wear and tear, your roof, you end up having to replace your roof, but you're
Yeah,
you're still doing everything to make sure that the bones of the house are solid so that you have a place to live.
right.
Marriage is no different. In this case, one of those foundational points that you said it best, we talk about it all the time on this podcast, is that
Mhm.
open line of communication. You have to be willing to communicate, even in the hard times, effectively, so
Yeah.
that you're able to cohesively move forward
Mhm.
as a team, where it is a team versus the problem instead of me versus you.
Yeah, I think that she said we stopped communicating a year and a half, 2 years ago, and that just once that stops, everything else kind of trickles down after that.
Well, it's like a domino effect, right?
Yeah,
So that pillar knocks the next one over,
right.
knocks the next one over, and then you get to a point where you're just fighting over nonsense.
Yeah, and you're against each other at that point instead of, like you said, being a team and fighting the problem. You're fighting each other. And that's what she says is that she said, we had a fight and I told him file the divorce papers,
Well,
because you're fighting each other at that point.
and for them, and we've talked about it for us, that's a non-negotiable to say things
Hmm.
like that. Talk
It was
about those.
also for them,
Yeah. So for them, it was the same deal where that is a non-negotiable.
right?
And the minute it was said, it's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Um,
Once it's verbalized, then that's what she said, like, he knew to take it serious because if it came out of my mouth, because it was a non-negotiable, it was not something that we were ever supposed to talk about or say, so
Now, the interesting thing about their situation is that once the paperwork was filed, once it was official that they were going to go down this lane of getting divorced, that's when the communication for the both of them opened up. She said it in her podcast. That was the first time in 2 years that they sat down and had, a
yeah,
heart to heart, honest conversation about everything that was going on and everything that they were arguing about and all of the
yeah,
resentments that they had towards each other and kind of all those things that come up when you start going down this line of non communication
right,
because there was things that she was doing that she felt not seen and not heard. And I'm sure he's got his things going on as well, where he's got a million things going on and he just wants to come home. But it was interesting to hear how it quickly dissolves once that one foundational piece is broken.
he's gone, yeah,
And through the communication after the fact, they have been able to be amicable.
amicable. Yeah, I think and I've been seeing a lot of that about that on social media since her podcast came out. And a lot of people are just saying that they don't believe it. It's cover up. You don't just recover like that. And because she talks about he's dating and she's happy for him. And for me, I guess, because we do this podcast and we talk about marriage and we talk about all those things, for me, 100%, I believe her because at that point, like you said, they were able to, when the divorce papers were filed, they were able to sit down and have these open, honest conversations and put everything out on the table. So for me, they are both probably already at that point of there's nothing left to lose. We're putting it all on the table. We're able to move on.
Right.
You know, I think it already hit that point for them. And so I think a lot of people just assume because they're celebrities, right? And so they don't know what's been happening the last 2 years of their lives. They don't know the breakdown of it. They don't know the miscommunication or the non-communication. And so for them, it's shocking because in the public eye, they're shown as this amazing couple that have a great marriage and then bam, all of a sudden they're divorced. So of course it looks like for them something had to have happened. Somebody cheated but on our side of it, if you're not doing those things like we talk about, the communication and the intention, you're not doing that work, that's not shocking to me that they're getting divorced and that they're able to do it and still be friends and still be happy for each other to move on. That's not shocking to me as it is, I guess, to everybody else.
Well, and I think to me, I see it like she said it very clear. They reached each other's purpose for each other. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
basically meaning that this was inevitably where this road was coming. They were going to get what they could out of it together.
Right.
Uh, but at the end of the day, they're still, I mean, they're best friends.
Yeah.
I think they were friends more than they were husband and wife,
Yeah.
which is something that I think every marriage should strive for. You should strive to be a friend with your partner.
Yeah.
Because in this situation specifically, yes, there's going to be some heartache. Yes, there's going to be some hard times. But once that's all said and done, and once you have that all of your cards on the table, so to speak, and you're
Mhm.
able to come at it from a point of understanding that you guys want completely different things in life,
Right.
you still want the best for your best friend. You still want that person to succeed and achieve and do all of the amazing things that they're going to go do, even if it's not necessarily as their partner, but you're
Mhm.
still somebody that is an advocate for them, a person that's going to be in their life for a period of time. They still have a daughter that
Yeah.
they have to co-parent. They're still friends. He even came out. That's what that clip that came out where
Yeah.
he said he was going to address. This was the only time he was going to address it.
Right.
And I mean, they talk
Yeah.
all the time. They're having honest
Mhm.
conversations. They both understand that the reality is what they hold, not what
Yeah.
everybody around their circle is telling the world or whatever it could be. All of these, what does she call them, sources that are coming out
Sources.
of the
Yeah.
woodwork, but they know their truth. And their truth is that they're still
They're
best
still
friends.
friends.
They still have some shared goals. They're just not going to be married.
Yeah. I mean, they're still having a baby together,
Yeah.
according to her. They're still going to raise a child together. Another child. I guess for me, because our whole podcast is about marriage and keeping your marriage strong but there also is so many different sides to it that not every marriage is going to succeed. Just because you do A, B, C, and D doesn't mean in 20 years down the road that both of you are still going to look at each other and say, I'm in love with you. You know what I mean? That's a personal choice.
Well,
Even if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing to keep your marriage, you're communicating, you're being intentional, that doesn't mean that for some people, 20 years, 10 years, whatever down the road, that doesn't mean you don't fall out of love at some point or you change as a person and you're going a totally different direction than the other person. There's so many people in the world. There's so many different marriages out there. For us, we have made the choice that we want each other, but it's not uncommon for people to choose down the road. Not that I don't like you and I hate you, but maybe I'm not in love with you. Maybe we are better off apart. But that doesn't mean that I have to hate you and despise you and be mean to you and have this ugly divorce.
Yeah. Well, and I think as you change and as you evolve, we have been blessed in that we share a lot of the same goals and
Yes.
values.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the case for everybody. There is a lot of people that will just through the pure evolution of life 10, 15, 20 years down the road, they're going to have different
Yeah.
perspectives on the outcome that they want in life.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, it's better to have a healthy relationship, whether that's as a friend with somebody, than to have a toxic one that leads to a lot of the hardship that ends up happening once people start going down that. And so that's what you find, though, right? Is that oftentimes when divorce happens, they've already passed that point of understanding that they're not maybe wanting the same thing.
Right.
So now they've started doing their own thing or cheating or sneaking out, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You start trying to live a separate life while maintaining this relationship or marriage for the sake of just having a marriage.
Yeah, because you don't want to leave or you don't want to get divorced or because it's such a taboo.
But if you're unhappy and your partner's unhappy and you both can come to it from a place of, this is not what we want and this is not the end, like our outcomes are not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Then you should both be able to pursue those regardless of what society thinks.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened with Jelly Roll and Bunny is they got to that point. Maybe the last couple of years they both were to that point where they're figuring out that they wanted something different or something separate, And then so when it came down to it, now, yeah, it's easy to open up and talk about it and be friends and be okay with the other person moving on.
Interesting thing, though, is that for me, it was not even so much her podcast that impacted me or his statement, because after they came out, I was like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But the thing that has been the most revealing to me is your point, right? Everybody is like, oh, no, somebody's lying. Oh, this can't be. Oh, this, that, the other. You had all these things coming out. She's cheating. He's cheating. He's a Bible freak now and can't be around her. All
He's
this,
getting sued.
Yeah. So all of these things that come out just because it doesn't fit the narrative that they
have in their head.
Right.
That should happen between them because, like I said, in the public eye, everything looks so amazing and they have this awesome marriage and they're perfect for each other. And that just shows you, like, you don't know what happens behind closed doors with people.
Well, you get snapshots.
You get snapshots. And we've talked about that on one of our episodes. You see the happy and you see what they want you to see. People want you to see.
Nobody's going to post an argument on social media that's going on.
No, I mean, I'm sure there's some people that just put everything on Facebook and, talk about their spouse on Facebook or whatever. But for the most part, people are just going to show you the happy and the good and the...
Yeah, I have amazing life. People want likes. People want followers.
And I think for celebrities too, it's harder because why you really don't want to put your personal life out there.
Well, I'm sure they've got publicists and all sorts of stuff telling them, oh, no, you can't put this. You shouldn't do this. This is going to hurt your image. This is going to do this. This is going to do that.
So I'm sure everybody's just speculating because, like you said, it doesn't fit their narrative. No, something must have happened. Somebody had to have cheated and they have to hate each other. And that's just not the case. I 100% believe what she's saying, that I can see, according to the timeline that she talks about over the last couple of years and where it ended up. Yeah. I mean, communication, like we always say 100 times in our podcast, is one of the most important things in your marriage. And once that is broken, it's hard to recover from that if you're not doing the intentional work.
Well, and it's easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give a perfect example. I mentioned at the start of the podcast that I have been kind of edging out, playing Fortnite, trying to keep my stress in check.
Yeah.
What I did not know was that I'm just not talking about it at all and not just trying to deal with it or whatever, but I'm not talking to you about it, which drives that narrative, right? Well, now we're not communicating. Now we're not talking. Something else is going on. Maybe he's got all this stuff under the sun. So to tie this into what they've got going on, like it's real easy when you've got all of these external pressures hitting you to just not talk about it because it's easier. Like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. And it's not even that I don't want to deal with it. It's that in my mind, I'm already stressing about it. Like, I don't need to stress you off about it. Right.
Yeah.
I don't need the kids to stress out. I don't need there's nothing good is going to come from me stressing everybody else out about the things that I'm stressing out about.
Right.
But there still needs to be that line of communication, because the mind, we've talked about, is looking for cues of things that are different. And if all of a sudden I shut down and close down,
Yes.
you
My
start,
brain.
well, and you start getting that you can begin building some of those narratives, right? Yes, your brain specifically goes into anxiety mode, and you're worried and what's going on here. If he's not talking to me, he's talking to somebody else. It's one of those things where it highlights the importance of being intentional and being okay with understanding that your person wants to help.
Yeah.
Even if you're trying to protect that, that's not always the best route, just because you have to be able to face things as a unit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and it's not like I can fix it, but it helps me to know. I'm not just going to jump in and try to fix and I mean, I can't anyway. I can't fix all of your stress and everything that you stress about, but I can at least communicate with you about it and better understand it than having you internalize it and face it alone. Because for me, the unknown is the scariest of any relationship I have with the kids, with you, with, people that are close to me. The unknown is the part where my mind just spirals because it'll fill in all of the unknown blanks with worst case scenario. And so when you're stressed out but now I think I'm to a point where I can kind of clue in. I still ask you and I still have that line of communication open, even though it's not the most comfortable for you. But I can also kind of tell because you are on Fortnite a lot more and you're not as on task, I guess you would say, as you normally are. You're not as motivated to be on your normal schedule and do the things that you normally do.
Well, but that's the key phrase there, right? Is that you're willing to open up that line of communication because it
Yeah.
has to happen.
Yeah.
And again, so, connecting this whole big picture back, now think of two people who I'm sure have extremely way more stressful things going on in their
Yeah.
lives, with all of the businesses and all of the engagements and everything that they're doing for their careers.
And the being in the public eye just alone.
So you've got all of this stuff going on. It's real easy to internalize that, because
Mhm.
I am sure in his mind, well, she doesn't need to hear this crap. She's got her own stuff going on, and
Yeah.
and you get, again, she mentioned it, like, you get to a point where you don't
You
want
know,
to have that conversation, because, like, you don't want that negativity.
yeah, and I can only imagine because of their jobs, they're both, especially him, traveling a lot. Like, you don't know how long or how much he's home. So when he is home, you don't want it to just be about fighting and being uncomfortable around each other. You want it to be happy and good. And so I'm sure if he's on the road most of the time, when he is home, they're not talking, sitting down and having those open, honest, hard conversations that what it takes to keep that marriage going. They're just
I mean, they're having all the
all
superficial
the,
fun
yeah,
conversations
yeah,
of, well, all the good,
right.
this hotty ha, this happened, this or
Yeah.
that. But yeah, you don't, I understand it, because I get to a point where I'm like, well, I don't want to burden you with that
Mhm.
stress that I have going on.
Yeah.
There's already one of us stressing out about it. I don't need another person in the
Yeah.
house worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm the same way with my anxiety because I feel like it's such a burden on you that I don't always want to talk about it. Even if something is bothering me, I don't always want to talk about it. It's not fun for me to talk about. I feel like it's a burden for you. And so it's very heavy when we have to talk about it. So it's very easy for me to just keep it in and not talk about it.
And then
That's not the best thing though
I
to
mean, yeah,
do.
right. So then we get to a point where, like, we're just not talking.
Right. And
Uh,
that's something that the last couple of years, have decided we are not going to do that anymore. But sometimes that's hard.
well, yeah. And to
You don't
that
want to
point,
be a burden to your
well, and
partner.
you don't want, like, that's your best friend.
Hmm.
Like, think about the relationships that you have with just your friends.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell them bad news. Like, you don't want to tell them all the crap.
No.
You want to vent, but you don't want them invested in the
Right.
venting. And you don't want your burden to be their burden.
Right.
And that's where the difference lies in marriage, is because, yes, I want to vent, but she's in the same situation because we're married.
Right.
So it gets to a point where it's hard to not really talk about. We've already got so much stuff going on. That's just one other thing that it's not something I want to just discuss in the moment. I just want to deal with it, handle it, and then once I formulate a plan, okay, this is the plan. This is what's been going on. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
That's just how my brain works. Like I'm going through a million different scenarios on how to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And it's not conducive to a good open marriage though.
Yeah.
And not to say that we have talked, we have communicated.
Mhm.
Again, she was real good about asking me what was going on, being real honest about it. Hey,
Yeah.
you've been acting weird. I don't know what's
Mm.
going on, but this is where my mind is going. So I need you to tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And we talked. I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, she's in it with me every day, so it's not.
No. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't anything shocking, but when it comes to those kind of things, anything regarding our safety or whatever, those are the things that you stress about the most. So, but I mean, it's things that I already know and things that we're going to go through. And
And that's a good segue into every relationship that you're in, whether it's a friendship, whether it's parents, kids, partner, spouse. You need to understand that everything is temporary,
yeah.
good and bad. Sometimes you're going to ride some real high highs and things are going to be great, and you think that you're unstoppable, and something will come along and derail all of it. The other side of that coin is sometimes you'll be down in the dumps. Things will just seem like they're piling on top of you, and eventually something will break and you'll make it through.
Yeah.
Uh, that's just life, ebb and flow.
Yeah.
The goal is to temper your response to it. When things are low, really low, it's imperative that you don't lean into that and try to remain as positive and forthcoming as you can.
Yeah.
But when things are really high and things are going real good, it's also good practice to remain humble enough to know that this is not forever, because the opposite can lead to a lot of negative outcomes. If you hit the lottery tomorrow and you have this super high, just like there's a good chance if you don't temper that emotion that you're going to go and blow whatever you won
Yeah.
and end up in a situation where now you don't have any money and you have nothing to show for it, right? And we have been in some lows for a while now,
Yeah.
but we continue to try to remain positive. We continue to try to move forward.
Life is lifing.
It is at this
It's
moment in time.
lifing. But our marriage is still on cloud nine, just life and everything else.
And well, and even our relationship, right? Even in a relationship, like it's going to ebb and flow. You're going to
Yeah.
have highs and lows as well.
I'm saying specifically right now in the season that we're in.
Yeah.
Our marriage is good. It's everything in life that's lifing right now.
It's a little tough. We'll get there. We continue to move forward. And at the end of the day, it's us versus the problem. And that's the way we keep reframing it. And
And I think that's another thing that people don't really look at. Marriage is a choice. Choosing your partner every day, that's your choice. Choosing your marriage every day, that's your choice. And some people don't want to choose it. When it gets down to the nitty-gritty and you're at that point of should we divorce or should we fight for this marriage? You have that choice. People have that choice. And they may not always choose to
some,
save their marriage.
I will say that sometimes that choice is one sided.
Yeah. No,
Unfortunately.
I'm saying the person, not both people. They each have a choice. And when you get down to that nitty-gritty of where is this going? What are we doing? How does this, either evolve or end? That's a personal choice.
And it is within your best interests to choose whichever path you think is going to help you meet whatever eventual outcomes and goals that you have for yourself.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes it's going to be separate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's going to be like in our case, where again, we share. Well, yes, we've got some separate goals, but the big ones are
Yeah.
pretty mutual in where we're headed and what we want.
Yeah. It's pretty much always, I mean, we've pretty much always been on the same wavelength that way.
And I mean, the location changed a little bit. You wanted the beach for a long time.
Yeah. I love the beach. You love the mountains. So
We can get a mountain lake with a beachy.
I think it's just important for us to our podcast is very specific. It's very marriage, relationship motivated, but that doesn't mean that we are blind to all the other aspects of a marriage, which divorce is an aspect of marriage, you
They
know.
say they say the leading cause of divorce is marriage. You know that, right?
Yeah, we're not blind, we're not dumb to the fact that people struggle, everybody's different. We are just trying to if you are on the same path and you are wanting to keep your marriage going, you're both choosing your marriage, you're both on the same path and wanting that. That is where we come in and we try to help. That is who we want our message to go to. We are not trying to say that divorce doesn't happen. I'm divorced myself. I've been married once before and, divorce, it happens. It's
I would venture to say that you getting divorced was the best life decision ever.
it was. Yeah, it really was.
But yeah, it is not lost on us that people are going to grow apart from time to time.
Yeah.
It's not lost on us that sometimes you're going to run into things that you're not going to be able to face as a unit for whatever reason. It's not for lack of trying. To Dusty's point, though, our message is for those people that are actively trying to find ways to reconnect,
Mhm.
actively find ways to have some of those conversations. The people that are trying to make it work and trying to ensure that they are finding a way back to each other. Because there are some people that wake up one day and realize they grew apart and don't understand how it happened, but don't want that apartness that they have. They want to be where they were when they first got married, how it was when they were honeymooning or whatever. I see it a lot with parents.
Mhm.
You have two people that have kids, their sole focus become kids and career. And once the kids leave, they have zero idea who each other is
Mhm.
because they've been so focused on everything else outside of their marriage.
Yeah. And it's not because they don't want it. It's just they haven't done the work.
And their priorities have been different. And
Mhm.
at the time, their goals were very shared. But now that goal has been accomplished, what's the next goal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think every marriage, anybody with children, I think can relate to the fact that you really do live for your kids. You really do want the best for your kids. You want your kids to have a better life than you had.
Yeah.
And when you're in a marriage, that is a shared goal.
Yeah.
That is something that we both strive for. That is something that we both live for.
Yeah.
But we also have goals outside of that.
Yeah.
And I think that gets lost sometimes on people.
Yeah. And we are intentional with each other to keep because not that our marriage is more important than our kids. I see it all as the same importance, but kids do grow up. Kids do go on to have their own life and be adults like we are. And so we want to make sure that when that time comes, we still have what we have now and what we've had for the last 20 years. We don't want to look at each other one day and say, I want something totally different than what you want. And that's all that work that should have been done through those 20 years.
Yeah, 20, 30, 40 years. I mean,
Hmm.
once my kids are out of the house, again,
Yeah.
like we have goals
Yeah.
and and then the vision gets a little bit fuzzy from time to time, but we both know what we want should our kids decide to go and do their thing and have a family. Of course, I'd love to have them with me forever, just 'cause I think that's the dream of every parent, or maybe not every parent, but that's my dream at least.
Yeah.
But they will eventually leave the nest,
Yeah.
and
Have their own life.
you want to also ensure that you have adequately been an example to what they should expect in their relationship.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I hope you guys all enjoyed our conversation. We do wish you all the best. Please continue sharing your light, and we will catch you on the next episode.